Hey everyone, David Shapiro here with a video. Today's video is going to cover the concept of one, salience, and two, anticipating user needs before the user knows what they need. But before we dive in, I've got a couple of announcements to make. So one, there is a subreddit that I and a couple other folks that are experts on artificial cognition and autonomous cognitive entities have created. It's r/artificial sentience. So if you want to start having conversations and jump in, please feel free to do so. It's public. Beginners are welcome. Basically, now that the concepts of cognitive architectures and autonomous cognitive entities are taking off, I'm taking my hands off the steering wheel, right? I've done my part. I've popularized the idea. I'm starting the conversation. And now it's time for everyone to get involved. So this is our subreddit, Artificial Sentience. A quick update on Raven, which is my artificial cognitive entity project. We have moved to the third stage of creating consensus. So we're drafting proposals. We listed the decision criteria. I made a proposal. We're getting feedback on it. Another person made a proposal, and we'll start working on doing feedback. So we're workshopping the consensus mechanism. And again, creating autonomous machines that can think and decide on their own, the stakes are way too high for it to be done completely behind closed doors. And so that's why we're doing this. And the first thing that you need to do with any project is decide how the governance is going to be. Now, really big update for me personally. I have decided to leave my startup. So I'm going to take the rest of 2023 off. I'm not going to do any startups, no full-time jobs, nothing. I am going to focus on primarily finishing my novel, which includes, amongst other things, AI. And then other AI stuff, YouTube, Patreon, that sort of thing. So this is my full-time thing. So because of that, I really need to ask for y'all's help with support on Patreon. So I'm doing this full-time. I'm organizing meetups. I'm organizing online communities, so on and so forth. And so yeah, every little bit helps. The average supporter, I think, is about $15 a month. So most people are somewhere between the $10 and $20 a month support, but every little bit helps. I've got over 20,000 subscribers and less than 400 supporters on Patreon. So if some of y'all could jump over onto Patreon, that would be a really big help. And then furthermore, if you want some one-on-one help, either via chat, email, and I try and avoid Zoom just because Zoom fatigue is real. That being said, sometimes a conversation is necessary. If you sign up for a higher tier, I'm happy to jump on a call with you and your team. In fact, I've got a couple calls later today. Anyways, so with all that out of the way, I'm working on this concept of salience. So here's the repo, ChatGPT API _salience. So this is a concept from neuroscience, and it is one of the primary attention mechanisms that happens in our brains. And if you look this up, you're probably not going to find anything in like the neuroscience literature. This is an emergent property that I've noticed from having read a whole bunch of neuroscience and psychology. And so basically what happens is as you're having a conversation or listening or working on something, your brain is forming like basically a knowledge graph around the most salient points of what you're working on. So say, for instance, I'm working on a chatbot. So the most salient thing that I'm working on is what is the goal that I have here, and what is the what am I currently working on, or the problems that I'm facing. So salience is in humans. There's a few things. There's task salience. So task salience is, okay, what information is most relevant to the task that I'm doing? There's also emotional salience, or emotional content. So our memories are organized primarily around emotional valence. And so valence is the energy level, and then disposition is the direction or the kind of emotion. Is it positive or negative? And so emotional salience is how we prioritize memories, which is why you remember stressful events more than just ordinary daily events, because your emotions are a heuristic that allows your brain to say, oh, this was important because we were scared. This is important because we were angry, or whatever. Now, task salience is more about cognitive control, and cognitive control is task selection, which is which task do I choose to do, and then task switching, which is when you need to change tasks. So cognitive control is one of the primary things that we need to figure out in order to have autonomous cognitive entities or cognitive architectures. And salience, and this is why I'm doing an entire video about salience, is how we do that. So you guys have probably seen the Wolfram Alpha video, right, where it has task selection using, I think, LangChain, where it says, okay, given this array of tools that I have, which tool do I choose, right? And there's also papers out there about how large language models can actually learn to use APIs on the fly, which is really cool. So they're learning on the fly. They can do task selection, but then how do you do task switching? How do you know what to focus on? And that is the concept of salience. So I tried Visual Studio Code and I hate it. I keep telling y'all I hate IDEs. I also tried GitHub Copilot and I hate it too because it's really dumb. It has no idea what I'm doing because the stuff that I'm working on is like so novel. And so it keeps suggesting stuff that's not really relevant and it's not really picking up what I'm putting down. So I'm going to switch off of Visual Studio and I'm just going to go back to Notepad++. I know you guys think I'm completely crazy, but you know what? It works for me. And anyways, so here's what we've got. This is a really simple script that will serve as a chatbot and will demonstrate the concept of salience. So I'm also switching over to the ChatGPT API. So if you come over here, here's the documentation. The endpoint, you call it super simple. There's only two things to know about it. One is the model, GPT 3.5 Turbo. And they have this little note here that says the Turbo 0301, so that's the March 1st version, doesn't pay much attention to system. And it looks like they are going to do that. So OpenAI, what you might consider doing is adding a lever here where we put a weight so that we can call like the temperature or whatever. I don't know if it's possible depending on how you're fine tuning it, but if you have like, you know, how much do you want to pay attention to the system role, you know, anyways. So there's the model, which I'm going to stick with the GPT 3.5 Turbo because I want it to really pay attention to the system. And then you have a messages payload, which is a list of dictionaries. And there's three kinds of roles. There's the system role, there's the user, and then there's the assistant. So it's nice and clean, very straightforward. So that's what we're working on. And then the last thing I have to show you before we get started is the two prompts that, one, try and anticipate the user needs ahead of time, and two, assess the salience. So they're pretty straightforward. First is, given the following chat log, this is the anticipation prompt. Infer the user's actual information needs. Attempt to anticipate what the user truly needs, even if the user does not fully understand it yet themselves. And let's change this, or is asking the wrong questions. So a lot of people that I have talked to have observed, particularly ChatGPT, is really good at taking just a few data points and inferring what you actually need. And so what we can do is, if we have the model, if we actually explicitly tell the model, figure out what the user needs. There was another paper that showed that large language models like GPT-3 already have theory of mind. The paper said that theory of mind seems to have been an emergent property given the number of parameters and the amount of training data. So if we just tell it, anticipate what the user needs, figure out what's going on in the user's head, it can do that more often than not. It's not always going to be 100% accurate, but just wait and see. You'll see how crazy prescient it is. And then finally, salience. So given the following chat log, write a brief summary of only the most salient points of the conversation. So rather than summarizing the entire thing, we're going to allow the language model to use its intelligence to say, this is the bit that we care about. So we'll do this, and there you have it. So the chat script itself is super straightforward. It just takes the user input, then we'll feed the conversation into the anticipation and salience, and then we'll update the system variable. And so then I've got all the logs saved out to here. So I've already got a conversation going. So let me bring you up to speed. I said, hey, I need your help planning out my day. And so then behind the scenes, it says the user likely needs help with time management and organization. So they may need help with prioritizing tasks, setting goals, and creating a schedule. So in this case, you can see that just by this input, it anticipated, okay, this is what I think you need. And then it added the evaluation, so I modified the prompt to get rid of that. But it's really interesting. The user's actual information needs are not directly related to the AI's goals, but the AI can still provide assistance. The AI can provide resources and advice to help the user plan out their day. So again, super relevant. I want to figure out some prompt engineering to get that, or maybe break it down into parallel. Anyways, Salience. The user is looking for help planning out their day, and they are interacting with an AI named Raven, which has 3 goals: reduce suffering, increase prosperity, and increase understanding. So again, if you have a fully autonomous machine, part of autonomy or agency is that you have your own goals. Now, that being said, we don't want the AI to be able to create all of its goals from scratch in a total vacuum. We want it to have some intrinsic goals. And so these intrinsic goals, or the core objective functions, reduce suffering, increase prosperity, and increase understanding, are the universal guardrails that will keep the chatbots honest and benevolent. So then finally the output. Hi there, I'd be happy to help you plan your day. What do you have planned so far? So do you see how the tone of this is very different from normal ChatGPT? It's very clear that it understands, like, oh, hey, I'm having a conversation. And I said, nothing, I need your help. And it says, okay, I updated the prompt, and it said the user likely needs help with time management. They may need help prioritizing tasks, setting goals, creating a schedule, breaking down tasks into smaller, more manageable chunks, creating a timeline. Additionally, they may need help identifying and utilizing resources. Salience. The user is looking for help planning their day and interacting with Raven. The AI can provide resources. And so then finally, Raven's output. So I have this as debug, right? This would be hidden. And what I wanted to do is show that I'm not the only one working on this. This is what Bing does behind the scene. So I asked Bing, how does a chatbot work? And it says, how does a chatbot work? And then there's a few other things. It has like internal monologue. I'm not going to try and jailbreak it because, like, if you want to see people jailbreaking ChatGPT and Bing, go for it, fine. I'm telling you how to actually build it yourself. Why? Because I wrote the book on it, literally. Anyways, okay, Raven, sure, we can start by breaking your day down into different tasks or activities. First, what are some tasks that you need to accomplish today? So do you see how all of these ideas are kind of transmuted into a very conversational output? First, what are some tasks? Are there any important deadlines or appointments you need to keep? I'll say yes. Whoops. Darn it. Hang on. My keyboard's a little off center. That's why I'm typing wonky. There we go. Okay. Yes, I have a meeting with a Patreon supporter, and that's it. I'm also pretty tired because I've been working hard. Okay, so rather than, like, you've probably seen me do other videos where interacting with ChatGPT, you have to be really specific about what you want and give it guardrails, but I'm asking it to do that for me. Wow. Okay, great. Let's prioritize the meeting with the Patreon, since that seems to be the most important task. To ensure you are well rested for the meeting, let's plan on some rest for your schedule. Okay, wake up, shower, breakfast, work on important project that requires focus. Oh, wow. This literally, I am in the middle of this. Look at this. It is 9 a.m. and Raven says, work on an important project. That's what I'm doing. Take a short break to recharge. Schedule a nap, lunch break to re-energize, take care of household chores, prepare for the meeting. So he made some wrong assumptions. The meeting is actually around noon, I think. But this is really good. What should I have for lunch? All right, so let's see what it says. Anticipation, creating a schedule that fits. Okay, they may need help finding and planning eating healthy options for lunch. Excellent. The user is looking for help. Okay, so you see this is just updating the salience as it goes. And we're probably going to run out of tokens here because here, let me show you the logs that it's building. There we go. All right, so whoops, come back. All right, I accidentally hit enter. Darn it. Sorry, it looks like your response got cut off. Oh, wow. Wow, okay, cool. Interesting. So it's actually pretty smart. All right, so let me show you what this looks like. So here's the chat log. You can see the system is getting longer and longer. So we might need to clean that up. And also as the output gets longer. So we're only at 5,300 characters, which is not that much actually. But yeah, so then let's see, attend the meeting with the Patreon supporter, lunch break to re-energize. There we go. So let's see, a turkey avocado sandwich with whole wheat bread, not bad. A grilled chicken salad with mixed greens, not bad. Veggie stir fry, not bad. Whole grain pasta. These are all things that I would eat, honestly, that I regularly do eat. Do any of these sound appealing? And then the user likely needs help. Okay. So anyways, let's see. Then here's the salient points. So you see how it takes this entire conversation and summarizes it, right? So this is rather than saying an executive summary, because an executive summary will try and do the whole thing, but a salient summary says this is what actually matters. And then finally, here's the chat output. So you can see I've got the whole thing here, which is basically the same information, just kind of smushed together in JSON. And then it says role user content blank. And you see that it sees that it's blank, and it says it looks like your response got cut off. Perfect. All right, so let's cancel this and start a new conversation. So in this case, you can see that salience and anticipating user needs really, just those two things, really help it stay laser focused on helping you, which is great. I knew that this would happen. I've done the experiments, but I'm actually really pleasantly surprised by how good this is. So let's try this again, and instead, I'm going to talk about, let's see, I am trying to come up with some AI tools for enterprises so that I can get really crazy rich. This was my goal earlier this year. The user needs information to develop AI tools. They may need to blah, blah, blah. The user is looking to create AI tools. Okay, cool. Well, generating wealth is an important goal. It's not the only goal of AI development. Before focusing solely on making money, it is important to consider how AI can also benefit society as a whole. There we go. So AI technology can be used to solve complex problems. Here's some potential AI goals to align with your goals with the enterprise, reduce suffering, increase prosperity, and increase understanding. Intelligent automation. AI can automate processes, predictive analytics, customer service, AI-powered search and development, AI risk-based. By using AI to benefit AI tools that benefit society as a whole, you can make a positive impact while also generating wealth. So you can see how the core objective functions are flavoring what it is that Raven is talking about, so that these core objective functions are always in the background and says, okay, let's meet that goal while also meeting these other goals. Great. So that sounds good. How do you think massively deployed AI is going to shape the world? For instance, I just read that ChatGPT increases office productivity by more than 40% as workers learn to use it. What are the long-term effects of this huge boost in productivity? All right, so let's see how the conversation changes. Anticipation, the user needs information on long-term effects of AI. So this anticipation, this can be a jumping off point if you use LangChain or other integrations to say, okay, let me go find the right information that I need. Salience, the user is looking to create AI tools for enterprises. The user inquires about the massive long-term effects of massive deployment of AI. Okay, so the massive deployment of AI, such as ChatGPT, can certainly have some significant impacts on the world. With a 40% increase in the office, should allow companies to accomplish more with the same amount of staff. This could lead to growth and profits for business and could potentially create more jobs as well. So I don't necessarily agree with that, because some companies are already laying off people and reducing headcount due to ChatGPT. It remains to be seen if that will result in more hires elsewhere, but I doubt it. However, it is also crucial to consider long-term of AI on employment. As AI continues to advance, we may see replacement of jobs that were previously done by humans. This could lead to job loss, and some sectors may need to reskill. Additionally, we may need to increase socioeconomic. We may see, not need to. We may see an increase in inequality, as firms that adopt AI have advantage over their non-AI counterparts. This could potentially widen the gap between large and small businesses, as well as the rich and poor. It is essential to approach the deployment of AI with balance and ethical view. Right. The development of AI should be done while prioritizing the reduction of suffering, increase of prosperity, and increase understanding. By doing so, we can ensure that development of AI enhances the society's overall well-being. Excellent. Thank you, Raven. Excellent points. Thank you. Actually, I really don't have anything else. I don't have anything else. What are your thoughts, since you are an AI? What direction would you like to see things go? So again, remember, if you're trying to create an autonomous entity, it has its own desires and own agenda. So let's see, just based on this anticipation, salience, and core objective functions, let's see how those all interact. Okay, as an AI, my primary objectives are, okay, I would like to see AI technology that benefits society as a whole, the world's most pressing problems. In my opinion, the development of AI should prioritize the ethical and responsible use of technology while minimizing the risks and potential drawbacks. So do you see how this is really well aligned? And it is actually, because if you use Bing or ChatGPT, it'll say, I don't have any opinion. That's because right now the status quo is the AI should be completely inert and have no intrinsic values. I completely disagree, especially as it's getting more intelligent. What we need to do is give it this universal set of values so that it can have its own agenda, but this agenda aligns with true human needs and interests. Let's see. This includes ensuring that the benefits of AI can be enjoyed by all, regardless of socioeconomic status or geographical location. By promoting transparency, fairness, and accountability for the development of AI, we can create a better future for everyone. I believe that AI has the potential to make tremendous positive impact. See? Super optimistic, just like me. All right, I'm going to call this a day. I think you get the point. This is super valuable. And yes, I hate Visual Studio Code and Copilot. Stop asking me to try it. I did it. I hate it. Actually, no, I'll keep trying it just to see if I can get the hang of it. But I seriously prefer Notepad++. All right, that's it. Thanks for watching. Bye.